Hey, what's up, y'all? I posted a video on prefrontal fishing. We did pretty dang good, and I thought I'd do a breakdown about that video. So all of my videos, I put in little pieces of information, but YouTube is kind of a short video type platform. So I can't put in all the information that I really would like to. So I put little key things like this. Is that where he was by the mangroves? Yeah, because the tides are so high. The water's all the way up to it. Yeah. So I was talking about the tides. The tides are really high. I don't really look at the tide charts. I'm on the water enough to where I can get out there and I can just look at what the tide level is. And if we've had some warmer days, since it's winter time right now, then I know that the fish are going to be in shallow. I know they're going to be, tucked up pretty close to the shorelines. And what that looks like on Google Earth to try to give you a better understanding of these areas that I fish. This is a good scenario on Ransom Island. You have this tan color right in here, and then here's your island, of course, right there. On a real high tide, all this tan color will have 15 inches of water, if not more, all the way up to the shorelines. So on a really high tide level, and assuming we've had a few days of warm weather, because right now in the winter, if we've had some cold days, then they're not going to be in real shallow. But on the warmer days with a higher tide level, I know they're going to be tight to those shorelines. If the tides were about average to low, then I'm going to come out here where it starts to get a little darker in this real thick submerged grass area. If they're about medium average tide. And possibly if it's a really low tide, I'm going to be out here on this grass edge, which is what this is. This is a drop off. You got your grass edge, your submerged grass, and then it drops off into basically no grass. The submerged grass doesn't grow for whatever reason. Probably because it needs sunlight. I was a landscaper for a lot of years and mostly an irrigator, but that submerged grass probably needs a certain amount of sunlight to grow. So I'm assuming in the deeper water it doesn't grow because of that. So, but you have your grass edge, and those fish like to hang out on that grass edge. So really low tide, I'm going to fish the grass edge, the drop off, which is out here. Basically, the edge is right here. So, and then the average tides, I'll be in here somewhere. And then your real high tides, I'll be pretty close to these islands, And same thing on both sides. All of these islands that I fish, they all hold fish, but they all have that tan color. And you can find this anywhere. It doesn't matter where you fish at. It doesn't matter what bay or what state you're in. That's the great thing about Google Earth is you can learn fishing strategies based on structure. So you got your tan color right here. So this is going to be your real high tide area in here, close to the island and the mangroves. And this is all pretty tan in here and in here. And then whenever it's a little bit lower tide, then you'll come out here into the grass flat. And real low tide, you're looking for deeper, probably deeper. So out in towards the middle, it gets deeper, 3 to 5 feet on average. I know a lot of times I say that it's 3 feet, and that's because that's what the average is, but you have pockets and potholes that can be 5 feet deep. So this color change right in here, this darker bluish color all in here is going to be a deeper area. This whole area in here is going to be deeper compared to this color change. You see how it goes from this brownish color to a darker brownish? This is all grass, and this is your deeper area. This is your kind of your average 2 to 3 feet, and then this is well, you got a gut in here. But over here in the tan, it's definitely a lot more shallow. So you got this blue water right in the middle of this. This is a deeper gut that runs along in here. These are good spots too, and that gut goes from here all the way to about right there. And then you have a couple little deeper areas in here. The water is a little bit bluer. So I also mentioned about the birds diving down. You notice what the birds are doing?
Yeah, they're crashing.
Yeah, they're crashing down. That lets you know that there's a lot of bait in the area. Right. It was pelicans, and pelicans, they freaking dive kind of everywhere, but for the most part, they're kind of diving in one big area. So if you're out here in a huge grass flat and you just don't really know where to start, the pelicans are going to be diving where the most amount of bait is. If you find the most amount of bait, it's a good chance you're going to find some fish. It was one of the reasons I moved towards that area. Plus, I already knew it was a good spot. It was kind of a brand new little area I hit in that video. So I had fished all the way up to a certain point a few times, but I kept going further, and that's where I found the fish in the brand new area. So the birds diving down, pelicans are definitely something to watch while you're out there. An even more important sign, as a lot of people know, are seagulls, and several seagulls that are hovering and then diving down. Those are over a school of fish if they're seagulls. Then you have the little lyrebirds that look like seagulls, but they're a little bit smaller. And I don't know the name of them, but the little lyrebirds, they pretty much dive down everywhere. But they're also worth, looking at, and possibly, if nothing else is working, go where they were diving down, because they're diving down on bait. So, but they call them a lyrebird because you may think that they're over a school of fish, like a seagull. And not talking about the single seagulls, but when there's a bunch, I say a bunch, it could just be six seagulls. If they're all together and they're diving down, one's diving, another one's diving, they're over a school of fish. That fish is chasing bait, and those seagulls are getting that bait. So the bait is getting hit from both ends. They get hit, from both ends. So high tide, low tide, water temp. That's the other thing we should talk about. So I know I did a video about, low 60s being wintertime patterns, and the reason why that is true is because when we have colder days, it can easily go from, let's just say, 62 or 63, which I'm still catching them in shallow about right there. But we've had a few warm days, and on those days where it's been, this time of year, it's been about low 60s over here where I fish. And if we have a cold front that comes in, it can easily drop below 60 real quick. So we are in winter patterns, but that doesn't mean that you can't find them in shallow when the water temp is about 63 right in there, or low 60s. We just need a few warm days. If we've had a hard front and that water temp did get in the 50s, then we need a couple days of warmer weather for them to be in shallow. For the most part, I do find a random fish in shallow when it's real cold, but it's just not near enough. It's not the stuff I'm seeing when we've had a few warm days. You can Google search for what is the water temperature in your area that you fish, and those are pretty close, but usually they're based on historical data. So, if the water temp's been 63 and you have a hard front today and it drops, upper 50s, that historical data isn't going to be accurate for what's happening today. So, a fish finder that can read the water temp is going to be great. Me, I just put my hand down in the water and I can kind of tell, that they're either going to be in shallow today or they're going to be a little bit deeper. So I still have not had to really fish the deep water because we just hadn't been that cold yet here in South Texas. So I know up in like Galveston, their water temp's been in the 50s for a while, so they're probably mostly catching fish in the canals and the cuts that open up into the bigger, deeper creeks and the channels and stuff like that. So it's just been my experience that it gets in the 50s, I can't find any fish in shallow. So usually after these fronts, even if it's a mild front like we had last night or yesterday, the pressure gets really high during the winter. During the summer, it's the other way around. The pressure can be getting high, you know, like 30.3, 30.4, and it'll drop because of a front in the summer. But in the wintertime, it's the exact opposite. We'll have some decent pressure, 29.9, which is average, or 29.92, and, you know, maybe 30 or 30.1, which is not too high yet. And when we get these fronts, that pressure is going up to 30.4, 30.5, which is pretty crazy high. I don't fish for a couple of days after these fronts. I'll probably wait about 3 days, so that's one reason y'all may not see me post a video. I just don't catch as many fish on that high of a pressure, so, and I definitely have a hard time locating them because I locate fish by activity, and the activity just sucks when that pressure is really high. So I like the pressure to be, you know, close to average, 29.9. Getting all the way up to 30.2 is my favored pressure, and on the high side. And on the low side, about as low as 29.80. But I did have a good day a while back with the pressure being 29.77. So, you know, it's one of those things that if you get a chance to go fishing, go out there and give it a shot, man. I like to do it still. I like to still sometimes go out there and see, you know, if I can make something happen. It gives me a challenge, you know. So right before the fronts, the pressure is usually pretty good. You know, it's relatively close to average. And for whatever reason, probably because fish have swim bladders and they can feel the atmospheric pressure changing, they somehow know that this front's coming, and they probably are not going to feed for, you know, a day or two heavily. And so that makes the fishing great because they know that this is coming. We know that they know, and we go out there and we do pretty good. So the pre-front fishing has paid off for me quite a few times. So they somehow just know that this pressure and this weather change is going to happen, and right before they shut down, they're gonna feed. So if y'all like this breakdown, this is something new that I'm considering doing. If y'all like the breakdown of why I did good or some situations I did good in, just let me know in the comment section. And if you want to know exactly where I'm catching them at and where I'm launching at, all that stuff's on my membership page. And if y'all want to book a trip, a kayak trip, let me know. All my information is in the video description and the comment section, or you can just go to cleanfunfishing.com, my new website, and do all that on there. So thanks for watching, and tight lines, y'all.